Before we jump on the video, please like and subscribe this channel. And finish the video from start to the end. Please hit the notification bell to be updated with the latest content for teachers. Leave us a comment and suggestion below if you enjoyed this video. Or give us a feedback how to make more meaningful video, or you want to tell something about the video. Please talk to us. Okay, let us begin. Before we to the rules, let us study first the anatomy of the multiple choice type of question. The parts of the multiple choice question. STEM is the question of your test. Distractors should be reasonable enough to be think as also the answer, but basically it is the wrong choice. The answer should not misleading and very precise, or else your test question will not be valid. If these parts are taken into consideration, you have now a good foundation of making a good multiple choice test construction. Then how about we go the strategies in answering multiple choice type of question. Taking a multiple choice test must follow strategies to improve your test-taking ability, especially in training your students to pass any given exams, especially multiple choice kind of test. You can use this also when taking licensure examination, that will be your stage of your studying as a college or graduate student. Making it a habit of using each of these strategies on a multiple choice test will make you a better test taker. Read the question at least 2 times before you look at the answer. Then read the answer choices at least 2 times. Finally, reread the question 1 more time. Always cover up the possible responses with a piece of paper or with your hand while you read the stem or body of the question. Then, come up with the answer in your head before looking at the possible answers. This way the choices given on the test won't throw you off or trick you. Eliminate answers you know aren't right. Every answer you can eliminate increases your odds of getting the question correct. Slow down. Read all the choices before choosing your answer. Do not assume that the first answer is correct. Finish reading all the other choices, because while the first may fit, a latter one may be the better, more correct answer. If there is no guessing penalty, always take an educated guess and select an answer. Never leave an answer blank. Do not keep on changing your answer. Usually your first choice is the correct one unless you misread the question. In all of the above and none of the above choices, if you are certain one of the statements is true, do not choose none of the above, or one of the statements are false, do not choose all of the above. In a question with an all of the above choice, if you see that at least 2 correct statements, then all of the above will be the correct answer choice. Tone can matter. A positive answer choice is more likely to be correct over a negative answer choice. So try to read it as if you are the one making the examination question. Wordiness is a good indicator. Usually, the correct answer is the choice with the most information. But not always. Stay within the lines. Be sure that you have filled the appropriate bubbles carefully with a number 2 pencil. Be sure that there are no stray marks. If the test requires you to shade bubbles, it will help also if you bring a pencil sharpener just to be sure. Take the time to check your work before you hand in the answer sheet. On a timed test, utilize every second of time that you have to go over your answer choices as much as possible. On an untimed test, check over everything multiple times. What are the meaning of summative and formative assessments? Remember always that the formative assessment should not be graded. It is only a tool to know if your students are listening and taking account of your lesson. It should not be part of their grades, because they are still learning what you have taught them in the first place. Summative tests are graded because it target an accomplishment, whether your students learned from the entire chapter or quarter of your teaching or lectures to them. You should also them that summative test will be measurement of their achievement in compare also to other students taking the same course. Although many instructors think of assessing student learning as synonymous with the process of arriving at a grade for student work, test or assessment may or can be applied for other purposes that it may help you and in other ways as well. Evaluation of students' work or their understanding of course concepts. Communicate to the student how well their work or understanding compares to stated criteria or to other students' work. Motivating students to work to understand course material. Organizing a course by providing a transition between major units, chapters and sections. The process of arriving at a grade for a student either for a test or assignment, or for an entire course is known as summative assessment. Before we go to the test rules and construction, let's go back to the most used forms of assessments, the summative assessments. Summative assessments like exams or term papers are formal, usually graded, and focused on letting students show a range of skills and knowledge. They require a considerable investment of time, both from students and from instructors, and are consequently often completed outside of class. To design a good summative assessment, it is important to begin with the course goals. What skills and knowledge should students have gained in the course? Once this question has been answered, an instructor can create assignments that will allow students to demonstrate that they have reached the course goals. The rules for writing multiple choice type of question. In the years of my teaching as profession, multiple choice type of question has been the tool of most summative examinations in most schools. Why? Because it is really measurable in terms of statistical treatment. You can know right away if a student really knows the subject he or she taking up. Let us jump into the rules I summed up studying constructing multiple choice. Please let me know if you have comments on this content. Write it down in the comment box. I will gladly read it one by one. Multiple choice, objective response, or MCQ. For multiple choice question, is a form of an objective assessment in which respondents are asked to select. The multiple choice format is most frequently used in educational testing, in market research, and in elections, when a person chooses between multiple candidates, parties, or policies. Mix up the order of the correct answers. Make sure that most of your correct answers aren't in the B and C positions, which can often happen. Keep correct answers in random positions, and don't let them fall into a pattern that can be detected. Your test is written, go through and reorder where the correct answers are placed, if necessary. Test comprehension and critical thinking, not just recall. Multiple choice questions are criticized for testing the superficial recall of knowledge. You can go beyond this by asking learners to interpret facts, evaluate situations, explain cause and effect, make inferences, and predict results. Use only a single, clearly defined problem and include the main idea in the question. Students must know what the problem is without having to read the response options. The question or the problem should be plain, simple, and understandable for most of the students. They will never answer the question if in the first place they cannot understand the problem. Ending in they will try to make an educated guess, and resulting to sometimes incorrect response. Make all distractors plausible. All of the wrong answer choices should be completely reasonable. This can be very hard to accomplish, but avoid throwing in those giveaway distractors as it detracts from the test's validity. Keep the number of options consistent. It's something of a user interface issue. Making the number of options consistent from question to question helps learners know what to expect. Research doesn't seem to agree on whether 3 or 4 or 5 options is best. Personally, it is best to use 4 options. The students will have 25% chance of getting the correct response, compared to a 3 options multiple choice test that has 33% chance of getting the correct answer. Avoid tricking test takers. As faulty as they are, tests exist to measure knowledge. Never use questions or answer options that could trick a learner. If a question or its options can be interpreted in 2 ways, or if the difference between options is too subtle, then find a way to rewrite it. Use a question format. Experts encourage multiple choice items to be prepared as questions, rather than incomplete statements. Incomplete statement format. The capital of California is in. Direct question format. In which of the following cities is the capital of California? Avoid double negatives. No big news here, right? Don't use combinations of these words in the same question. Not, no, nor, the unprefix, etc. 31 of 35 testing experts recommend avoiding negative questions. Students may be able to find an incorrect answer without knowing the correct answer. Avoid use all of the above and none of the above. Students merely need to recognize 2 correct options to get the answer correct. You will never know if students know the correct answer. I hate this rule because when you run out of distractors, all of the above and none of the above can come in handy. But they may not promote good instruction. Here's why. All of the above can be an obvious giveaway answer when it's not used consistently. Also, the all of the above option can encourage guessing if the learner thinks 1 or 2 answers are correct. The downside to none of the above is that you can't tell if the learner really knew the correct answer. Simple sentence structure and precise wording. Write test questions in a simple structure that is easy to understand. And try to be as accurate as possible in your word choices. Words can have many meanings depending on colloquial usage and context. Place most of the words in the question stem. If you're using a question stem, rather than an entire question, ensure that most of the words are in the stem. This way, the answer options can be short, making them less confusing and more legible. Avoid clues to the correct answer. Avoid answering one question in the test by giving the answer somewhere else in the test. Have the test reviewed by someone who can find mistakes, clues, grammar and punctuation problems before you administer the exam to students. Avoid extremes. Never, always, only. Avoid nonsense words and unreasonable statements. Balance the placement of the correct answer. Correct answers are usually the second and third option. Avoid making a pattern in the correct answers. Or else the students can figure it out and resolve to making patterns and not answering the test. Be grammatically correct. Use simple, precise and clear wording. Students will be more likely to select the correct answer by finding the grammatically correct option. Thank you so much to the following. Before making a test, I always go back to these places. You can also check this whenever you have time. Enjoy. 10 Rules for Writing Multiple Choice Questions, thelearningcoach.com. Microsoft Word Handouts. 14 Rules for Writing Multiple Choice Questions. byu.edu. Summative Informative Assessment. Assessing Student Learning. Teaching Resources. Center for Innovative Teaching and Learning. Indiana University Bloomington. Meador, Derrick. Multiple Choice Test Strategies for Students. ThoughtCo. August 26, 2020, ThoughtCo.com. Multiple Choice Test Strategies for Students. 3,194,592. Multiple Choice Wikipedia.